So I thought what would be cool is if I showed you guys the official remix I did for Loco Contigo for DJ Snake, and the Malokera remix that I did for Skrillex and Troy Boy. So I'm going to start with the Loco Contigo remix. I'm going to show you guys exactly my processing. I'm going to show you guys my mixing and organization techniques that I use. So for everyone that doesn't know me, my name is Tyler, but I go by the stage name of Teez. I am a Jersey club producer, originally from Toms River, New Jersey. And yeah, shout out to my boy Alex for hitting me up and giving me the opportunity to go over some music with you guys. So that being said, I'm just gonna go right into it. And I'll come back and forth in between Ableton and the actual chat so I can see if you guys have any questions. So without further ado, let's dive into Ableton. Okay, so this is the stemmed out version of my remix for Loco Contigo for DJ Snake. And the reason I decided to stem it out, not only just to save CPU, but rather I can start from scratch and show you guys my process for my organization, which is the first thing I do whenever I start any track. I think if you do take your project seriously and you take your work seriously, your organization should be your number one priority. So you can be more efficient and getting your work done. So I'm just gonna dive right into it. So first things first, this is what Ableton looks like as soon as you bounce all your stems in, minus everything being at -9. Yeah, I believe in OBS I am recording, but let me double check that really quick. Oh, here we go. Now I'm recording. Sorry about that. Thanks for the heads up, Alex. Okay, now I'm recording in OBS, so I'll be able to share this with Alex afterwards. But okay, backtracking into Ableton. So as soon as you open up Ableton, typically you're gonna have your 2 MIDI tracks. Okay, usually just pops up your 2 MIDI right here, 2 audio clips. But just for the purpose of demonstration, I deleted the MIDI clips because we're not going to be using them right now. And I just input all the stems from the Loco Contigo project. So the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do before I actually organize anything is gain correction. So typically when you input stems from the master project, for me anyway, personally, I drop all my channels -6 to -9, so I give myself headroom for post-processing, for mastering. And what that allows me to do is it gives me sufficient headroom to recompensate for the lack of volume for dropping all your levels, and it keeps your dynamic range, and it gives the track its depth. Because if you have all your levels between -6 and -4, I've noticed, you can still get a pretty good master and the post-processing can still be pretty good, but I don't feel like it has that depth. It's kind of flat. So the lower decibel that you export all your tracks at, the more depth you're going to have and the more headroom you're going to have to make your final master more dynamic. So I usually bounce all my stems between -12 and -9. But for this demonstration, I just went ahead, I selected all my tracks, and you know, I brought them all down to -9. Okay. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through stem by stem and just do some self-correction. I'm either gonna add onto the gain or subtract onto the gain stem by stem. This can be a pretty tedious process, so usually what I tend to do is just select all of the stems that seem to be around the same level of gain. So let's see, like these 3 here, here. And when I say the same level of gain, you can visually see, okay, so these all look to be around the same output level. So I'm just gonna select all the ones that definitely need that boost. And some of these channels are empty. I think these could be effects layers that maybe got exported out, but I'll go back in there and double check on that. So quickly going through the project and seeing all the stems, these look like they're all roughly around the same gain. So I'm going to go ahead and give these +6. Still looks like we have some room. No, I think 6 is okay. Okay, so I generally want all of them to be around the same decibel level. So when I'm mixing them, it makes it a little bit more fluid rather than having to go back in piece by piece and do gain correction as you go. So the first thing I do upon actually opening the project or importing the stems is the gain correction. And now I'm selecting the other pieces that could probably use some more gain correction. I'll give these, actually give these +6, +9, and just eyeball it out. That looks pretty good. You don't want your actual, sorry, I'm drawing a blank here how to describe this. We'll call it the waveform, or your display here for each sample. You don't want them hitting the very ceiling, okay, of the track here, because that means you're going to be getting clipping and you're going to be getting maybe some distortion that's unwanted. So everything with me is about headroom. If you guys listen to any of my music besides Whistle, my biggest thing is making the track sound good. You can always make it louder later. Remember that. You can always make something louder in post-processing. Just make it sound good first. Let me go back into Facebook here, see if we have any questions. Nothing yet. Nothing yet. Let me see. How many layers do you tend to have before converting audio? I mean, that depends. It's a track-by-track basis. I mean, I think the median amount would be anywhere between 20 to 30. I like to keep my projects really condensed, really simplistic, just so it makes it easier to navigate the project, easier to organize it, and then it makes it more efficient in getting it done. So I think that's the most important thing, is you don't really need to have a lot going on. I mean, for example, my boy Chris Dead Robot over there, I could imagine he probably has like 50 to 100 tracks on a project because he has really intricate, really complex kind of work. But for me, how many tracks do you usually have?
This song has 125.
125. Okay, see, that's crazy. He has 125 tracks. As for your boy, I keep it anywhere between 20 and 30. But you're crazy. So I'm just gonna keep going in and continue to do gain correction right now. I'm just grabbing all the pieces that look to be around the same gain and just adjusting them accordingly. So I'll give these ones like a +6. Perfect. And then these ones that are really low, I'll probably give these like a +9. I know there is VSTs out there. Actually, I'll probably give this like a 14. These are really low. That's fine. There definitely is VSTs out there. I need to look into this a little bit more that do this for you automatically. I know that you can normalize the stems and it does that too, but what I notice when I normalize stems, every so often I can get distorting or I can get clipping and just a lack of headroom when I normalize. So I think if you really just take the time and do it yourself and be really precise about it, your track will just sound cleaner. And that's just my personal preference of it. Let me go back in here and see if we have any more questions. No more questions? Yeah. Okay, let me keep going. So, maybe this last piece up here. I noticed that we have the actual kick as one track and the 808 as another track, so I'm just going to delete those right off the clip. Okay, so going through and looking through the project, I just start subtracting things I don't need, like the effects sections that get exported as well. I'm doing some last touches with the gain correction, seeing which ones could still come up a little bit more. And I think it's important to get all this done before you actually start getting into your workflow, just to save yourself the time. Okay, because the last thing you want to do is getting really deep into your flow in the process of working on the track and then realizing you have a ton of gain correction to do, because that's only going to slow you down. And the most important thing with working on music is efficiency. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play the track from the top just so you guys can hear it. I'm going to check OBS to make sure it's coming through okay. It should be. Okay, so that's essentially how most of the arrangement goes. He sent me the original stems, the original arrangement of the track. I just went in, did some changes with the percussion, added in my own chops, rearranged some of the vocal. So I'm just gonna break down how I did this first drop. So let me get from the build up here. Okay. So I'm gonna loop the first 8. And I'll break it down layer by layer, and then I'll go into my actual processing on how I really don't do too much to my kicks. I just think with my overall processing, I'm really minimalistic. I think less is more, and I think what you have to do to really make the track sound good is give it a proper mix. I think less is more with just making club music or any music in general. So the first thing I'm going to start out with is my kick. Okay, now this is the kick section that I exported originally. So this is the top kick along with the 808. So the first thing I'm going to do with my kick here is I'm going to give it a tail. And when I say give it a tail, I mean curve off the low end frequencies that you don't need. So pretty much from 30 hertz down, there's going to be a lot of frequencies that you can't hear with your naked ear, and even with like really high-end studio monitors, but it's going to give you a lot of rumble. Now you will notice these low frequencies right here if you're on an actual stage or a club or a venue that has a really loud system. Okay. So all you're going to do is give it a tail. Because you see how we have all this low-end rumble right here? Just to clean it up a little bit and make it a little bit more clean, for lack of a better word, and give it some more curvature. That 30 hertz dip is very important. Now if you're looking at the actual frequency structure of the kick itself, you can see it has a very low body and it has very minimalistic mid and high frequencies. So what I'm going to go ahead and do, because I want that top kick to really come out, is I'll go to 450, and usually between 200 to 450, this is your frequency range where you're going to have the mud of your mix. So the just ate dinner. You're going to have the unwanted low mid frequencies, and these are the ones that are going to really give you all that mud and unnecessary low mid you don't want. So what I'm going to go ahead and do at 450 is give it 1 dB raise, and I'll give it a high shelf. So it's just going to give all of my frequencies above 450 a 1 dB raise. Now I'm going to go to 250, 240, depending on the kick, and I'll give this a dB raise as well. And this is going to be some really surgical EQing here. And now for my my surgical 0.5, I'm going to go to 350, actually 300, so it's more center. Well, just try to get it in the center as much as you can. That looks pretty fair. 334. Now I'm going to drop this a dB and then give it some curve. Okay? So what you're starting to see here is it's dipping out the low mids, which is where your mud's residing. It's kind of giving the top shelf. Actually, let me see here. There's a better way of doing this. Let me take my 0.4, bring it over here this way, give that the +1. There we go. Bring that up a little bit. Bring that down. So essentially what I'm doing right now is I'm just giving my kick, it's like, its shape. So I'm bringing up the frequencies I want to have emphasized. I'm bringing down the frequencies I want to be subtracted. And honestly, that's really all the EQing I do to my kick. I don't do too much to my kick. Like I keep saying, I'm really minimalistic in my processing. Okay. The next thing I'll go ahead and do though is I know Ableton has some pretty good preset audio effects racks. So what I do is I go into the audio effects racks, mixing and mastering, and I'll do a warm and wide, or a wide and warm doesn't necessarily make a difference, just what comes with the rack. So I'll take this rack right here and kind of see what it's working with. We already have an EQ in here. which does have that curve, which I like. And you could double up on EQs. You could double up on EQs just as long as you're not making any drastic dips or curves, because then you're going to start getting this really weird kind of... wait, let me see, make that 0. Bass gain will be 0. I don't really like to add. I like to subtract more than I like to add. But what I will go ahead and do though is let me add in 0.3 here. I'll bring that to 350 and I'll subtract that a dB. Pretty much every single EQ, doesn't matter what the element is, doesn't matter if it's a kick, a clap, a snare, a vocal, always between 300 to 400. Typically,
make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
typically 330 or 350, I give it a dB to 3 dB dip. Or I just completely subtract all the low end from that frequency range and below, just to get rid of all the unwanted low mid. I'll go ahead and go to like the 500 at the very opposite edge of the dip. I'm doing at 350. Bring that up like a dB. I guess it's the high frequency. There we go. Give it a curvature so it doesn't emphasize the 350. It just complements the space next to it. Because what happens is if you dip the 350 and then complement the shelf a little bit higher in frequency next to it, so this is 350, this is 500, it just emphasizes the dip I'm doing at 350 without actually having to dip it down even more. So just little tweaks like this can really make a big difference with the sound. I want that shelf at 30. There we go, that's fine. I will do probably a little bit more of a drastic curve, but I save that for post-processing. Okay, whoa, what's going on here? Okay, beautiful. What else could I do? The stereo enhance, I actually do stereo enhancing on my kick. That's too much, I'll do 60. Like halfway, like 30 to 60. And I actually move in increments of 3s. So like 3, 6, 9, 12. 15, just because well, not just personal preference, but like Nikola Tesla did everything in 3s, and I think, you know, frequency is sound, sound is frequency. So if Tesla says to move in 3s, I'm gonna move in 3s. So even my my compressor gain, I'll make 3. Actually, compressor gain, I'll make 1. I don't really like to compress my kick too much because, like I said, it's all about the mix. It's all about post-processing. Okay, cool. So that's pretty much all I do to my kick. Let me just move this rack to the back here. Cool. All right, let me see if we have any questions so far. Go back in here. Okay, no questions yet. I'll keep it moving. Okay. Well, turn off the automation. Okay. I'm pretty satisfied with that. The kick's hitting pretty even. Even if we go and look at the mixer channels here, let me bring these up. The kick's hitting essentially exactly at -6. Even looking at the master, it's hitting -6.53. So that's -6. I'll call it -6. Okay. So the first thing I start with when I'm processing everything is my low end, my low mid, and I move it to my percussions. Because those are the elements that are going to be moving the track. Is this another export of the kick? That's another export of the kick. I can delete that one. Okay, beautiful. Okay. Okay. Okay, so that kick sounds pretty good. It's where I want it. Okay, I'll delete this channel and I'll delete this channel because I see the grouping for them right here. So the next thing I'm going to go ahead and add in this group is just my Jersey Club, the Think percussion, and then I intermingled that section with the Jersey Think percussion along with the rhythm percussion that came with the original stems that Snake gave me. I think these are a little bit loud. I'll bring these down to 12 for right now, just to give the track some depth. Okay. Now what I'm gonna go ahead and do is get an EQ here. Oh, wrong one. Just looking at the EQ window here, I can see there is quite a bit of low end going on here. Don't know if I want all that, so I'll go ahead and trim it. Bring it to 250 at first, because 250 is where that mid punch in your kick lies, 250 to 200. So I think cutting it off at 250 is fair, just so I know it's not interfering with that kick. So I'm listening to this, I still don't think it needs that much low end, so I'll move it to 350. I think 300 is fair. So I think moving it to 350 took too much of the body out of it. So let me see here. Okay. So yeah, I'm gonna keep it moving here. So yeah, I think that's fine for the EQ of the drums. Give it a low shelf at 300, that's fine. Then I'll go ahead and go to 350, minus it 1 dB, give it a little bit of a curve here. Actually, I'll do -3. There we go. So now it's still keeping that low end, and it's keeping the body of it without making it sound too hollow. But I'm just gonna move into like the actual like meat of the track here, and it's the actual chops. So I'm gonna delete the like chops I did that I bounced. I'm gonna recreate them for you guys, just to show you how I actually broke down the chops.
Yo trato y trato, pero baby no te olvido. Tú me tienes loco, loco contigo. Yo trato y trato, pero baby aquí yo sigo.
I'm just trying to find the section that I originally chopped. Okay, so this right here is the original section I chopped. That was the part when I first listened to the acapella. I was like, all right, this is what I need to chop up. And with Jersey Club and chopping, or even just any kind of chopping in general, you want to find pieces that if you do use them in a more repetitive fashion, it won't get annoying or it won't be too much. And they're tight enough and it's a quick enough phrase that it will just sound good being chopped. That's already kind of a chop in itself. So find a piece of the acapella you like. And there's several pieces to this that I did like, but this is just the piece I chose. So I'll take this quick phrase right here and I'll bring it back to this first part of the drop that I deleted here. I believe it's, let me see, I don't have the inside of this labeled. Okay, here we go. There's 2 layers of this chop going on. I hear you. Okay, here's the other layer. Delete that. There's a few EQ groupings that got added into here as well that I don't need. Okay. Okay. So I'm gonna take that phrase I like and put it over these drums, just the 3/4 kick. And I always start with just the kick. I always start with just the kick in the initial chop, and then I'll start adding on top of it. So I'll actually move this kick up here closer to the chops, just so I can see them coexisting with each other and how it actually goes. Okay, so this is the 3/4 kick, and this is the original vocal phrase that I want to work with. And what I'll do is I'll just maybe loop this for a couple counts. And this is just when you're starting with your chops. So you found something you like, loop it for a couple counts and just see if you can get an idea with it. That's usually how I start. Just loop the phrase, repeat it. Eventually some ideas will come to you the more you arrange things. But obviously that's going to be very annoying if that's the only chop we're going to have. So I'll work by 4 bars by 4 bars and keep it moving like that. So I like the first hit, but I think it's too repetitive. So I'm going to go in here and then start actually surgically slicing everything. Okay, take that first hit. I'll get rid of these because I listened to it a good amount of times and I know how I actually want it now. I have the idea in my head on how I want to chop it. So I'll move this section over here just to get it out of the way. And I'll start with this first piece right here. I always curve the very end of the tail so you don't get those from the actual waveform being like chopped too abruptly. So I always give everything a bit of a curve to it with my chops so they just sound cleaner. See? It has a nice steady decline. Or decay, excuse me. And an effect that a lot of people notice in club music and an effect that I use with whistle is that every other count delay. So like up, up, up. All that is really basic gain automation. And it's not even automation. All it is you can take the second sample that's repeating itself and you come down over here to your sample window and you subtract the clip gain -6 to -9. I usually do 9. 9's pretty fair. And you could just loop this piece right here and that's essentially the fundamental Jersey club chop. That's it. That's essentially that's the fundamental Jersey club chop. So you guys can start seeing how the structure would come about. Move this piece over here, give myself some more room to work. So I'll loop this for just 2 counts. Like that. It's catchy, it's not too annoying, it's not really repetitive because every other one's dipping out, so it gives everyone some room to breathe. It's not so overwhelming. So I'll take this piece that ba-bum, and I'll start throwing it in, into the arrangement I have here and just see where it works. So I'll usually put it at maybe the end of every phrase here, every count. Do 1 of them instead of 2 of them. And then maybe just to change it up at the end of the next count, I'll use both of them instead of 1. So right off the bat, I'd say that's pretty knocking. I mean, if I were to play this in the club, and this whole kick channel, I'll give it, let's see, 12. There we go. Make that kick a little bit fatter. Here we go. So I actually like this arrangement we have right here. So all you have to do is give yourself 8 bars instead of 4. Duplicate. Now you have some movement going on. Now you're actually starting to have the structure of your Jersey club track. And what I like to do is like every few bars do something different, whether it's a different chop, whether if it's adding in a break, anything that can make it unique and different throughout the whole track so it doesn't get repetitive. The only problem with Jersey club is it can get repetitive very quickly, very boring and very annoying if you don't do it right. Like little things like that, just me dragging out that initial chop. But it's a little bit off, so what I'll do is I'll consolidate this into its own sample. Whoa, where are we at? That should be down here. Oh, there it is. Okay, I see it. So I'll just lock this piece on count, through the warp window, and I'll take this piece and move it onto the 1. So now listening to it, it'll be on count. So even right there, that's changing it up from this arrangement into this one. So you're doing things a little bit differently. And then I'll take even this extra piece right here and then throw in, you know, an off count right here. So now this whole arrangement is going to sound different section by section, so it won't be as repetitive. And usually what I do at the last bar of like my 8 is I'll fill it in with like a piece of the phrase to indicate that's going into the next couple counts of it. I don't know, just to change it up a little bit. Like I said, club can get very repetitive very quickly, and you don't want that. You don't want that at all. So maybe I'd make this last count drag out a little bit, like so. Yeah, perfect. So you could take this, move it over like so, and now essentially you have the first layer of chops to your first Jersey club drop. So yeah, that's like the first half of your first Jersey club drop. I'm gonna go into the comments here, see if I have any questions. Nothing left, cool. I'm gonna keep going. Okay. Okay, so we have that first half of our drop. So what I'm gonna do is loop the second half here. I'm just gonna keep adding it piece by piece.
Okay.
I'm just going to delete this piece here, do it from scratch, and then we'll just duplicate the chops that we had for our first section. I think that I think it changes up enough that it won't be too repetitive to continue it. Okay. So now it's going to start getting a little bit more complex, and this is how you really have to be particular with your arrangement, because now I'm going to start adding in more layers of chops, and if you don't do this right, it can get messy very, very quickly. So I'm going to pick the next layer that I'm going to bring in, which is probably going to be the vocal synth that's over it. Under the chords? Okay. I'll work on the chords next. So I'm going to go ahead and delete the chopped chords that I have, and then go back into the original chords here. And this is the original pad that Snake sent me from the track. So all I'm going to try to do is just arrange it around the club drums I created. So I take the original arrangement, throw it over the chops I just did and the kick I laid down. Okay, so the chords do have a nice progression to them. Okay, so obviously the next few bars are going to be exactly the same as the first few bars, so you don't have to necessarily let it drag out, and we're going to rearrange it anyway. So I'm going to solo these chops, so it's just the kick and the chords. And the thing is with club too is you want it to be a little bit more empty than like say like house music or any other genre in particular. So I'm not going to use the entirety of the chords. I'm going to break the chords up and only have them hit on certain notes. So definitely you want it on the 1, okay? And remember, you want to curve the edge of it so you don't get that. Oh, do I have a message here? Let me see. Let me see. Okay. Just reading some comments. Sorry, I didn't realize I had to scroll. Should I only master the audio stems, or is it okay to actually master with MIDI and VSTs on a project? Basically, should I bounce audio before I master? Like I said, it's all personal preference. So the way I like to do it personally is I do really bare minimum processing to my tracks and just ensure that the mix down does it justice. And then when I go into actual mastering, the mix down is good enough that that's really all it needs. Very minimum compression. I do use the imager a lot. I like using the imager to give it like a nice broad stereo width, and then it keeps all the low end really center and mono with everything. It's a person by person basis. If you find a method that works for you, where you can master with MIDI and VSTs on a project, and continue to do it. But the way I've developed over the last couple years of doing it is just I'm just a minimalist when it comes to processing. Plus, I like to save CPU. So I'll get back into this. Okay. So where we left off, we were laying down these chords right here, and you see how like it has this little bit right on the one that just kind of abruptly comes in. I'm kind of nitpicky about it, and I want everything to sound very clean, so I'll give everything a pretty fair curve. Okay. And notice how when that next chord comes in, it's not exactly on the 2. It's like ba-da, ba-da, ba-da. So I don't want the ba-da, I just want the like the attack of the next note. So I'd say that starts right here. So I just chop this and then drag it over. And again, give it the curve and then cut it off at the next count. And you want to make sure the note's actually hitting on the right count. If it's coming in too early like this one, again, it's all personal preference. There's a lot of different ways to chop. I'm just showing you my way of doing it. So I say it's 1 count before the actual count I want to hit on. So I'll delete that and I'll bring this over like so. Give it a curve and then cut it off at the next count. Like this. Beautiful. And since I just aligned that one where I wanted it, the next one automatically fell to where I wanted as well. So then I already know that's there. Delete that. Give it a little curve on each one just to make sure we don't have the on the top of the chops. I hate when I hear a really good club track and they were just lazy with the chops. I was like, dude, this could have been way cleaner if you just took the time to fade your chops. So I like that chord progression. I'll loop that for the remainder of my drop here. So now I'm just going to play the kick and the chord. See that? And that's it. So now you have a good chord progression of the original chords chopped in a Jersey club style, and now you have the original vocal chopped in a club style. So now when you combine all them together, you're actually starting to get a pretty cool remix. Pretty dope. So now I'm just gonna keep adding on to my chops, and it's gonna get pretty intricate. You don't want it to get too messy though. Let's see what this guy is. Okay, so that's the actual like vocal synth that was on the track. So I'm just gonna get rid of the original chops I did and recreate them for you guys, which is at the... Actually, I think that is the drop section, so I need to find the original piece here. So this is the original chop here. So I'll delete this one. Now I'm going to recreate this chop. So lay the original over it. Loop it. Let it rock. It's pretty loud. I think it's kind of overwhelming a few things. I'll bring it down to 12 for right now. Give yourself a lot of headroom to work on shit, man. Trust me. Now what we did with our chords, how we broke them up and we arranged them like 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 1, 3, or like in between the 2 and 3 on that off count. We're kind of going to do the same with arranging this vocal synth. And kind of just listen to pieces of it and see what you like. I kind of like this little chop of it right here. So I'll take this and move this to the 1. I actually like that piece better than that one, so I'll chop that. And we still have the original arrangement here, so we have more pieces to work with. I'll move this to my 1. Show my fades. Again, don't be lazy with your chops. Be really precise with them. You want your music to sound good, not bootlegged. Now, instead of doing this as the exact same arrangement I did for my chords up here, which I'm actually going to go ahead and move the vocal synth up here with the chords just so I can kind of see them side by side. I do this a lot. I'll organize certain things with each other so I can see how they lie with one another, so they're not like too overlapping or too repetitive. So I'll make this I like that little breath on the end of it, but I'll give it a bit of a tail. And move this one on the off, maybe like this. Give it a little chop, a little curve. So now we got... I like that. That sounds good to me. I'll take this piece and use this kind of as the last 2 counts to switch it up a little bit. Give it a curve. I'll say this for the entire video. Give all of your chops a justice curve so it doesn't sound like shit. Duplicate. This might be too much, but we'll see. No, I fuck with it. I like it. So if you like it the first time, don't overcomplicate it. So we'll just say for the example, I'm very satisfied with this. Loop it over into the next section. I'll get rid of the chop layer over this 2 count break before it goes into the next part of the drop. And then we'll say for the second part of the drop, we just let the original chops ride out just to keep the original track's integrity in the remix. And then again, these last 2 counts right here, just get rid of it on that fill. I think emptying your fills kind of exaggerates them a little bit and makes them more impactful. So now we'll listen to everything that we've worked on so far. Excuse me, we had another layer over here. And actually, I'm actually happy I left that on because this was going to be the next thing that I work on. So, as you guys can clearly see, Jersey Club is all about being really precise and really arranging your chops so they're not so complex and messy. Hold on, sorry, my computer is lagging a little bit. Here we go. Okay. Okay, so that's essentially how I go ahead and organize my chops and how I structure my Jersey club arrangements. So very basic arrangement with the kicks, making sure all my chops intermingle with each other and they're cohesive and they're not too complex or messy. And you can just keep going on and playing it by ear and seeing what you think works and seeing what doesn't work. So I'll play this from the top with everything so you guys can listen to this new drop I made with the rest of the remix I've already done and see how it sits with it. A little louder here. And quick note, nothing's mixed. Just all the stems in here, just pretty much all between -9 and -12. And the same way that I organized the chops and overlaid them to make sure they were cohesive and not sounding too messy, I do the same thing with my percussion. I'll touch on that very quickly. So say we have our kick. I want all my percussion to not interfere with the placement of my kick. So I'll add in this one, for example, which is just a clap. Very classic. I do have this Jersey Impact. It's one of my custom hits. A little louder, bring down 12. And then add in like one of the snake percussions in between in a new arrangement. And see how I have all of the call and response going on between the percussion. So as one hits, another one dips, and then it comes back as the other one decays. So it's like a boom, 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 boom. It's almost as though someone's playing it live. It gives it a really good acoustic feeling in a way. So yeah, that's pretty much how I went ahead and did my Loco Contigo remix. It was just me taking all the original pieces of it, putting my own spin on the arrangement, and that's it. It's a wrap. Okay, but to keep this moving, I'm going to open up a new project here. I'm not going to save this. And I have the stems to my Skrillex remix from Malokera that I'm going to go ahead and import into Ableton. So like I said, when you first open Ableton, you guys know this. You have your 2 MIDI tracks. I'm just going to get rid of these for right now. Get rid of the other one. Minimize this. And the Malokera remix. Here we go. Oh wait, that's the original stems. Hold on. Where did they save to? 1 second, let me go to my documents, my downloads. That's weird. And then going to Facebook really quick. Do we have any more questions? Let me scroll through this. Do you sidechain your impacts and claps to the kick when they hit together? I actually do very minimal sidechaining. I only sidechain maybe like a VST lead, like Serum, to like a kick. But the impacts and everything, no, I don't sidechain any of them. I just let them hit on top of one another because I have them mixed accordingly, so I don't have to worry about them being muddy on top of each other or them overwhelming one another. Like I keep saying, if your mix is good, everything else is going to fall into place the way it should. So for example, that custom Jersey Impact I have that mixed, bless you, with surgical precision in the EQ, that when they hit one another, they're not taking away from each other's body, and they're not making each other muddy. So it's all about the mix. It's all about the mix. 1 second, I'm opening this laptop up. There we go. Let me go find these stems for Malokera. And actually this works out even better. What I'm gonna go ahead and do is take the original Malokera stem. So this is literally the folder that Skrillex sent me. Not too much inside of it. So when you actually go in here, we only have the original 808, the acapella, the drum section, what he calls the funk percussion, which is, I'm just thinking his percussions in one section, then you have your effects section. So see, look, even Skrillex keeps it very basic. I mean, he only sent me, 6 layers. So I'm not going to take the instrumental wave, or I'll take everything. So let's just say hypothetically that Skrillex sent you guys this folder and you need to go about doing a remix to this. We're going to start this from the top. So you're just going to select all of your Malokera stems, command click, and make sure when you drag your stems into Ableton, you continue to click command, because if you don't hold down command, it puts them all into the same channel and it's just not going to be good. So hold down command to create different tracks, let go of command, they all go on one channel. So just hold down command, bring it to the 1. There you go. Okay. So now what we have here is all the original stems for Skrillex's track Malokera. Am I saying that right? I hope so.
Yo, it's Skrillex. Yeah.
And it's way too loud right now. I don't have a lot of headroom to work with. So the first thing I do after I import my stems, select all of them, bring them down to -9. Between -9 or 12, personal preference, whatever you want to do. You could even just bring it down to -6 if you want, but for your boy, it's -9. So with a track like this, it has a very interesting arrangement, how you have that delay in the intro before it actually hits the first count, and then the kick comes in at this weird time. There could be people out there that would have a difficult time just getting this on count. So the first thing I'm gonna do is go find the first hit of the song, which would be this kick right here. That's the first kick that I can find. And I'm gonna grab all of them from very, very, very close. You want to be very precise with this. Give it a separation, and just for now, I'm going to get rid of this piece here. So now when we zoom back out, we have exactly where that first kick is, okay? So now as soon as it hits, first kick. So now all we have to do is then take all of our tracks and then bring them back to the 1. Okay, so again, to backtrack, find the first hit of the song, get rid of all previous audio before that first hit, and then bring that first hit to the 1. So now as soon as we start the track, so finding the tempo to this is going to be pretty easy now. Turn on metronome. Obviously too slow, so adjust it until you get it to where you need it. So if it stays on count for the first 4 to 8 counts, you know that you've found the BPM to it. So right now we're at 131. Great, so just leave the project at 131, you know where it's at. Take all these pieces, give yourself some room to re-expand. Take all of them, bring it forward. So now that we just did that method, we now know where the actual 1 is for the beginning of the track, which is this vocal that comes in before the clap. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So now we can take all the stems in their entirety of their arrangement and then bring it back to the 1. So now we input it, oh, excuse me. So now we have all of our stems in the track, we have them on count, we have them on BPM. So now we can actually start getting into the process of rearranging it and remixing it. And like I said before, I'll keep reiterating this. Look how simplistic this is. And this came from Skrillex, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 layers, okay? So we have all of our layers down here, okay? We'll go through bit by bit and just label so we know what's going on. So this is our 808, label it 808. This is our acapella, so I'll just call this vocals. This is our drum section, so I'll just call this drums. And I'm gonna go ahead and move my drums with my 808 because they belong together. Your 808 and your drums need to be pretty close to one another, so it's just easier to navigate your project and you're more efficient. I'll select both of these, make these more, I make my lower frequency elements darker colors as my higher frequency elements are lighter colors. So I'll make both of these the same blue. I'll make the actual tracks themselves the same blue. I think that's the same blue. And I'll group these into a section I'll call low section. Okay. So now when I solo this out, we're gonna have all of the drums from the Skrillex track. Turn the metronome off. Don't need that anymore. And since I give myself enough headroom by going to -9, everything sounds good, nothing's clipping, there's space for me to work. So now I can add things on top of it if I wanted to, and it's not gonna sound like shit. Okay, now this next one is called the funk percussion. So I'm gonna call this just percussion section. Oh, rename it. And I'm also gonna move this up here with my other percussion elements or my low end elements. And since it's a little bit higher of a frequency group, I'll make this more of a lighter blue just to keep everything like very cohesive with themselves. So now you can just look at the project and tell, okay, this is my low section, these are my percussions that follow with it. Now I'll add in these percussions. Bring these down to 12 so they don't overlap too strong. And I could tell for our next channel, our effects, we're gonna have to do a little bit of gain correction. So I'll do 9, even 12. Nope, way too much. Oh, it's 23. Do 12. There we go. Close this laptop and move this. Okay, perfect. So the effects, I'll call this the effects section here. And now since this is a higher frequency element, I'll make this even in like a higher color. Make it this baby blue, and now I'm gonna stack it on top of this. So if you guys can you can see the trend now. My lower frequency elements are a lower color, mid frequency are more of like a middle ground color, and then the higher the frequency gets, the brighter the color. That's just my own personal way of organizing my work. Okay, the instrumental, I'm probably just gonna get rid of it right now. I didn't even use the instrumental when I remixed it. And now the vocals, I'm gonna place in between the percussion section and the effects because it's kind of in a middle ground frequency range between the two. And green's a good color. I'll keep green. So essentially, that's how I'll start out with inputting my stems, arranging my track to get ready to be remixed, and then just organizing everything to start. And that's it. Turn my fades on. I'm very picky with my fades. Okay, check Facebook for any questions. I don't think we have any new questions in here. Cool. Okay. So I'm just going to jump right into it on how I actually went ahead and remixed this. So I liked the original kick. I really liked how it had this top texture to it. It almost has this kind of that clank. So, you know me being the Jersey Club guy I am, I'm gonna take all of these stems, okay? highlight all of them, and then down here in your sample window here, you're going to go to warp, and you can do complex or complex pro. All these are right here, so pretty much you have your different kinds of warping modes, and all these are is pretty much different algorithms that Ableton will use to warp the audio. So I feel like complex and complex pro is the best option to go with usually, because it's not gonna, like for example, if I use beats to warp the audio, it's gonna quantize the samples to be perfectly on count, and that's gonna sound very strange if you have elements that aren't supposed to be on perfect count. It's gonna sound really mechanical and really digitalized, and it might make the track sound very bad. So I usually just go with complex, so it keeps the original I guess rhythm and I don't know if I'm going to say this word right, quantization. Chris, is that the right word for that? Quantization? Keeping something on count, quantization? Okay. Thank you, Chris. So yeah, complex is the best warping mode, I feel like, to, you know, to fuck with your stems here. Okay, so I really like that first hit. So I'll just label this, for example, drop 1, and this will be 1/4. So this is going to be the first drop and the first quarter of the drop. So I really like that first kick. Honestly, I'll delete the rest of this because it's going to be the same exact.
Make your music stand out, get more views, and way more engagement. Bring your music to life. Get Music Visualizer. In every format, even for social media. Get started today. The link is in the description.
Same exact drum progression as the first half of the song, so just delete it. You don't need it unless you want it. Go show fades, and this is exactly how I did the remix in the first place, the process I'm showing you right now. Here we go. Make that a little bit tighter. There we go. That's probably gonna go here, here, and then like this. Oh, fuck. Can't really see right now. Oh, that's why it goes here, duplicate. Just arranging my 3/4 kick. My computer's dragging a little bit. Oh, there we go. Cool. Found our 3/4. We'll loop it. So that's essentially what I did. I just took the original kick and then put it into a Jersey Club 3/4 arrangement. I do like the original 808. The original 808 was pretty fat. Little gain correction. That's way too much gain correction. +3 is fine. So like I said, I'm going to delete the rest of this. Don't really need that right now. Move this over to the 1 here. Bring the kick down a little bit. Like -12's cool. Turn on my fades. So we have a pretty thick body actually for the initial kick. So I think that might actually be a little too much. Trim it out to about half of what it was. Gonna reconsolidate it into a new sample. Trim the other bit off. Always fade. I'm gonna go ahead and just use the new kick we got and replace all the old ones very quickly. Perfect. So now we have a little bit of a tighter kick. I like it. It's has a little bit more of a punch to it. So notice how we have a bit of a low end body for our initial kick here. So I'm gonna kind of fade it in correlation to where this top kick starts and starts to end with our 808. So I think this would be pretty fair, something like this. Give it a nice tail on the end. Like that, here we go. Okay, maybe move it in a little bit. There we go. Move this back, loop this. Go to Facebook, do we have any new questions in here? Anything? Nope, okay. Keep it moving. Okay, so I'll just loop that for another measure here. Bring this over. Okay, so that's our kick. And it's the original kick. I didn't even have to add anything. So I just used the original 808 and the original kick. So now what I'm going to go ahead and do is I am going to sidechain this mildly to the other kick. So I'm going to open up my compressor onto my 808 and I'm going to do some sidechain compression. I'm going to assign it to the kick section's called drums. So for my threshold, I'll do -18. Oh, not plus 18, -18. I'll make my attack 0.50 milliseconds. The gain's not really hitting where I want it to hit. Give it a dB of gain, that's fine. I'll make the ratio 3, so it has a bit of a curve to it on the attack. So now your kick's starting to pump in kind of in correlation with the drum kick that's on top of it. So now having this pumping functionality, which gives your track some movement. You can even make it more drastic if you want. You could do like -20. Cool. So that's essentially all I did to my kick besides like the EQing I'll do. So I'll go ahead and throw on just an EQ over the actual group itself. And give it that 30 hertz curve at 250, bring it up a dB, give it curve there. Use my my 0.3, bring it down to 350, minus it a dB and give it a curve. And then I'll go to, let's see another frequency here. Give it a dB there, curve it, kind of shape the kick a little bit. I'll bring up that top 1 dB and then bring this 0.4 back a little bit so it can kind of shelf majority from like, what's that, 1K? 1K up. And again, go to the audio effects rack and do the warm and wide drums, the same process that I did for Loco Contigo. Actually look within the grouping itself, like I don't need that point exaggerated, I don't need, well we can keep that shelf, don't need that exaggerated. Make that curve less drastic. Stereo enhance, I'll do 60. Compression gain, I'll only do 1 dB. Bass gain, I won't add any gain to the bass, and the mid gain, we got rid of it in the first place. What I will do though is go in, like I said, and go to 350, between 300 and 400 where your mud is, and just minus a dB there. Give it some curve, just constantly getting rid of that mud. And if you wanted to make it like a little bit crunchier, for all my bass heads out there that really want shit to slap, you can get a saturator. I do this sometimes, not too often. Give it like a 1 to 3 drive or like a 3 to 6. Give it like a 60 dry wet. And the order of all this does matter, so I will bring the saturator before my EQ to affect the sound before I shape it. So now that kick does slap. I mean, look it, I'm at -9 for both of them, and the grouping's still hitting 0, but it still has space. It still has dynamic. It's not distorting. It's not clipping. Even if I wanted to bring these two down to, I mean, for example, I bring my top kick down to -12 and then bring my 808 down to -15, it's still gonna hit. And yeah, actually, I was planning on showing you guys the original whistle file, like the original project itself, but that track is almost 4 years old now, and I don't have it on either one of these computers. It's actually on my old Dell Inspiron, which is in my dad's gun cabinet back in New Jersey, locked away from the rest of the world. So I would show you guys whistle if I had the opportunity to. But if you guys want to create whistle yourself, just download the first Cashmere pack, go into the ambient sounds, and the original whistle sample is in there. So if you guys want all the stems that I used to make whistle, it's in the first Cashmere pack. Literally, I'm not exaggerating that. Okay, now I'll take the vocal here. See, it pretty much creates itself. And like I did for Loco Contigo, find a portion of the acapella that you like and you think would be catchy, but not too repetitive, not too annoying. Take it and begin looping it into a few sections, like so. And this is just an example. That's pretty much club music. No, I'm just kidding. So I'll just do the chops for this vocal really quick and show you guys how to add a lead on top of it, and then I think we'll be all wrapped up here. So the same process as before, that gain automation up and down. So -6 to -9, I'll do -9. And repeat, like so. This by itself should even slap. And then for, oh, did it? Is that what that smell is? We were in the middle of live streaming and preparing tea and dinner, and we burned some stuff. So now if you just listen to it with just chopping the acapella, we haven't added anything into this project yet. This is still all the original pieces we have. And then I could just take the original lead, the effects section he has, throw that right on top, and that's actually on the wrong count. It would be here. So if you listen to all the elements put together, pretty good. Cool. So I'm gonna go ahead and see if there's any last questions. I'm not sure how I'm doing on time. I think I might be over time, I think. I'm not sure how long this has been going on for. But if anyone has any last minute questions, I think we're at about the 90-minute mark. So if anyone wants to comment anything really quick that I can answer, I'm more than happy to. Yeah, so anyone have any questions? Anything at all? I'm not sure how many more people are in here. Could be quite a bit, not sure. But I really hope that you guys enjoyed kind of an inside look on how I create my club. And, you know, that's something very special to me. I've been producing club for about 10 years. I've done a lot of collaborations with a lot of the OGs, and yeah, I think I'll go ahead and wrap up the drop for the Skrillex remix here. So essentially, the arrangement that I just made, I'll take this section, get rid of it. That's from the original track. I don't want that anymore. I want the arrangement that I just did. I'm gonna take this, duplicate, and like I said for the Loco Contigo remix, change up the chops every so often so it's not that repetitive, because club can become a very annoying thing very quickly. I'll turn off these percussions here. I do want to utilize this percussion right here because I really dig it, but not in the way that the original track has it. So I'll get rid of this piece and start to work with what we have going on in the funk percussion section. So we'll see what exactly is going on in this. I actually like that piece. This would be really neat in between the kick. Bless you. So maybe on the offbeat, I'll throw in this funk percussion hit. I'm not entirely sure even what this sound is. I'll throw it in between all of them. So I'll do it on the half on the second count, and I'll have it hit on the 1, 2, 3, 4th count. Here we go. I'll loop this. Bring this up a little bit in the mix so we can hear what's going on. Oh. Thank you. And that is hot as shit. I wouldn't mix it like this where it's sitting. I'm only doing it right now just so I can hear what's going on. Because actually the way I have OBS set up, I'm not even using my audio interface. I think it's coming across good for you guys, but I'm just using my laptop speakers right now, trying to just reference by ear for that. Listening to these two pieces by themselves actually sound pretty good. The lead on top of it, banger. Lower that a little bit. And if I really wanted this lead to bounce back and forth with my kick, I'll literally clone the sidechain compression I did for my 808 and throw it right onto the lead. Now listen to it. I won't make it as strong as the sidechain for the 808, but maybe I'll just make it like -12 instead of -20. Vocals on top. And for my version of the track I did transpose it down just so it had a little bit of a, let's see. It's really fun to play with the pitch of the chops. It really makes your track as interesting and not as boring. So if you had something that's a normal pitch and it drops at a different pitch, I mean that could be pretty interesting. That's pretty dope. I think that does the original some justice, something different. So I'll go ahead and delete this section right here, give myself some room to work. Again, clone it. I am really particular about these labels that I use. If this was like an actual project I was starting from scratch, you'd see me throwing a lot more labels on this. So we'll make this one drop 1, second quarter. This will be drop 1, third quarter. And this will be, let me see, did I have that right? Yep. This will be drop 1, fourth quarter. And like I said, how emptying those fills and making them very minimalistic. I'll take this. So only that kick hits. Expand it. You know, especially remixing or even just originals in general, if you find good samples or good percussion loops, it's just about using what you already have to a certain degree, or you can be as creative as you want. And now going into the second part of this drop, I am going to change up these chops so it's not so boring here. Okay. And I'll actually make it more minimal than the first part of it. So I'll delete all this. It's weird, almost in club, it's like the harder you want the drop to be, the less you have in it. Then maybe just fill in every other one with use some fill. Here we go. Then use that to the ground on the end. So how I have this piece right here. Let me move that. Maybe like here. Delete these. Delete that. Just duplicate. So I have this going on. Now I do like that original piece here. Get rid of that. Again, just loop it. And I do want to utilize this little bump bump. So I'll be really precise on how I grab it. If you hold down Command and Ableton, it lets you do a really precise crop of a sound here. So I'm gonna move the 1 to the, here we go. Cool. And I'll just use this funk percussion on every other offbeat just to give it some more movement. Again, so every offbeat's just gonna get this drum. Every other offbeat, not actual every offbeat. Here we go. Maybe like one here. Okay, cool. So now if we listen to this drop I just made from scratch from the top here. Again, just using different pitch for the second part of the drop. And even this break right here, I'll just get rid of that last kick just to give it more of an impact when it does come back in. Give a break here. That little signature double kick that a lot of club producers use. I'll throw that in right here. Just like double. You want to make the fades for the double kicks though a little bit tighter so the attacks don't overlap. Like so. Here we go. Get rid of any other element that'd be on top of it. Cool, so I'll play this from the top. So compared to the original, it's quite different now. I can even speed it up if I wanted to, so I'll move it to like 138 instead of 131. Cool. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much how, if I had to start a track from scratch, if someone hit me up and said, yo, remix this, here's 6 stems, go to work with it. So first things first, import, get to that the tempo that you want to work at, organize your sections, you know, and the way I do it is from lowest element to the highest element. Oh, what did I just hit? Okay. Oops. So lowest element to the highest element, and really feeling out the original to see what would work for a remix. At first, when I first heard this track and you first sent me the stems, I had to even just take, you know, like a couple of days and just do a bunch of different iterations of chops like this. I had probably 4 or 5 different versions of just chop ideas and remix ideas, and originally it was just going to be a trap drop. Like it wasn't even like it wasn't even club. It was going to be something like this. Hold up. Let me see if I can recreate it very quick. It's exactly how I was doing it. Let me see. Here, like this. I'll be here. So I'm kind of working on this one like off measure, which I usually like to have it perfectly on count, but yeah. So it's just gonna be like half time rather than double time. I'll be here, I guess. Where would that be? I guess here. Wouldn't be so many kicks though. Delete the kicks. So I was just even thinking about doing something like this for the drop. Actually, let me see. Which works pretty well. I mean, club and trap go hand in hand. They're at a very similar tempo. Or say if you didn't want to use the vocals at all and just want to use the lead. Something really simple. It's like every other. Maybe just like, you know what I'm saying? Just play around with it. Do something different. Throw a saturator on it. Give it like a 9 drive and then minus it 9 to make sure we don't clip. Just minus 6. Make the sidechain a little bit stronger. Throw some reverb on it just to give an idea of what it would sound like. And for my reverb, I always give it a good low cut so we don't have any mud. My pre-delay 30 milliseconds. My actual decay 3 seconds. My Low shelf is 350, and I do my reverb at around 15%. Depends though. If you want to make something crazy ignorant though, take all these, transpose them like 12 or 9, 6 maybe. Turn up the drive like something crazy like 15. So the remix can go one of two ways. You can do it club style. Or if you say fuck club, it's trap. So yeah, essentially that is how I remixed Malo Cara by Skrillex and Troy Boy. Obviously not to the same arrangement, but this definitely the same process. So let me go back here into Facebook, see if you guys have any more questions that I can see. Anything at all, let me know. Oh, we had a lot of people tune in. I'm really happy that we had so many people watch my little tutorial I did. But yeah, guys, so that's how I put together the Loco Contigo remix for Snake. That was my process for Malo Cara by Skrillex. If you guys want to play with the samples from Whistle, Cashmere Pack 1, it's not that hard to find it. Take like 20 minutes to scroll through the pack. I promise you'll find 9 out of the 10 samples that I used for it. Yeah, it's all about just having fun with it and, enjoying the process of just making tracks. So, if you guys don't have any more questions, feel free to DM me. I try to answer every DM, as best as I can. I'm scrolling down as much as it will let me. I don't know if you guys can... Okay, here we go. I see a few. Okay. So, how do I get the attention of the god Skrillex? I don't know. He reached out to me after he started supporting Whistle a lot and just sent me, stems to Malo Cara. I don't really have too much contact with him besides that. I did pitch a few of my demos to Owsla, which we're talking about for 2020. He'll probably take a couple of them. Okay, cool. The questions are starting to load now, guys. Sorry, I didn't see them. I was trying to scroll. What do you wish you could say to yourself if you could go back to your first year producing? To help speed up my career, produce. Because I didn't start out as a producer. I started out as a DJ. So I was playing a lot of local clubs. I had a few residencies. After I got out of the military, I was just DJing bars and lounges on like turntables, open format hip hop. And I realized there's kind of a threshold that you hit and a ceiling if you don't produce your own music. So I think the first piece of advice I'd give anyone trying to get into it is to just make your own music. And I would have started making music years and years before, seriously, like taking it seriously. I mean, I was dabbling with FL Studio for a while, but I mean, actually learning it and putting out records, I would have done that way sooner. I was with Rel today. Tyrell's my boy. Tell him I said, "What's up, Blake?" When you're pitching, are you just going by ear, or do you have systems to stay in key, go up by octaves? It's a mixture of both. I'll do it by ear, and I'll also have a tuner on the channel. Like if I'm really seriously sitting down and working on it, I'll make sure that it is in key and it's tonally pleasing to the ear. It's cool to see a remix on the fly, man. Departure from our normal work structure, but I dig. Yeah, I was gonna show you guys remixes I already had done, but I'm actually using Sharon's laptop right now because my computer wasn't able to handle Ableton and OBS, kind of one or the other. So I just bounced stems to a few tracks of mine, and just I'm happy you guys enjoyed it. Let me see what else. What else we got going on? But yeah, I guess to anyone that's just really trying to get their production game up, all you can do is just put in the time, practice, and be persistent, and that's really all there is to it. Chris, do you have anything to say? Nope. Sure, you got anything to say? Peace and love. That's a good message. So yeah, I mean, I appreciate everyone that watched and tuned in. Hopefully I could do a few more of these in the future. And DM me. I try getting back to every single DM that I can. So yeah, any questions, feel free to hit me up. And until next time, I will talk to you guys later.